Happy Camper Radio, episode 58. Come on, let's go camping. I just love that music because each and every time we kick off the show, it just does something to me, Daniel, that just, I'm ready to walk out the door right now with gear in hand.
I'm ready to square dance. I don't know about you. What do you think, Deidre?
Maybe.
Oh, Deidre, you got to turn your microphone on. How are you?
I'm fine.
Oh, good. Glad you could come on over. So you're taking part in the show today, I see.
Apparently I am.
And I guess I need to thank you for allowing him out of the house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks,
leash.
Deidre.
But hey, what better place to be than at camp? And
exactly.
And the weather, Daniel, has just been absolutely superb this week.
Yeah, it's been good.
This weekend is a weekend that I should have gone camping. But I had so much to do around here, and I'm sorry to say it's almost getting to that point each and every weekend. I've just got to learn to put down the tools and put down the broom and everything else that I have going on in my life, and just say the heck with it for a week, and just let me venture off into a campground somewhere and just kind of recharge my batteries. We all need to do that every now and then.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, But anyway, let's go ahead and get our campfire lit because, Daniel, we have a lot we need to talk about today.
Yeah.
A lot of good information. And Daniel, you are becoming quite the celebrity.
Well, what
for
can I say?
our listeners who haven't been keeping up with us on Facebook as well as our website, Daniel, this past Friday morning, was on the morning stream.
PM.
Well, the morning stream PM. That's because we recorded the show when? The night before, Thursday?
No, it's at the night. They do a special show on Thursday night, and they call it the morning stream PM.
Okay. Well, I will not forget that because I was sound asleep whenever you came jackhammering on my door.
Oh,
and
boy.
saying, we need to go ahead and get ready and get all hooked up and everything because we're going to be live. And we got it done. And you actually sat in the driver's seat here.
I did.
How did that feel?
I like the driver's seat.
Well, I get to do it each and every week. We went ahead and let you push the buttons and turn the knobs and all that good stuff. But we had a good time. And for those of you who have not caught Daniel and you want to see the man behind the voice, you have the opportunity to do that. Just go to our homepage, which is www.happycamperradio.com. And it's going to be right there. It'll hit you right in the face. Just click the play button. If you don't want to listen to all the silliness and everything, you can go ahead right to this one section. I think it's 35 minutes in and 16 seconds. And just go ahead and click on that. And there he will be.
Yep.
Daniel on the morning stream on Frog Pants.
Frog Pants.
Skip even knows the timestamp.
I know.
What are you laughing about, Deidre? I understand you showed your smiling face on the camera too, didn't you? Yeah?
I did. It was pretty funny.
No. Well, I sat in Daniel's seat that whole time, and I'm just going to go ahead and stay out of this one. Let him take the glory. Yes, because I am as much as those guys they're a lot of fun. I'm just not a frog pants kind of guy. But it's a great show. I've got to admit that I've heard it before, and Daniel's been. How long you been listening to Frog Pants now?
Since 2011.
2011. That's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot longer than we've been around.
We're getting there.
Hey, we're getting there, and you have quite the following, Daniel. I've got to admit that.
Yeah, I guess I do.
Yeah, our phone number here is 404-537-CAMP. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, and add us to Circles on Google+. Of course, you can access any one of our social media sites very simply by going to our homepage, which is www.happycamperradio.com. And once you're on our webpage, make sure you take some time to click on the RSS feed button, and this way you can subscribe to the show, and you'll never miss a single episode of our program. Daniel, we have a couple of shout-outs to give before we get underway. The first one is going to be, let me make sure I get this right. It's Euros Temment Euros
Oh, I love
Tenman.
Euros. Those are the best.
And he added us to Circles this past week on Google+. And we also want to say hello to Gary Sizer of Asheville, North Carolina, who likes us on Facebook. Congratulations to both of you, and welcome aboard the Happy Camper Radio family. We're glad to have you with us. Daniel, I want to say Gary is a very interesting kind of guy.
Oh?
And, I had an opportunity to chat with you beforehand and visit his Facebook page. Mm-hmm. It turns out that Gary is going on he's actually on the adventure right now, the adventure of a lifetime, something which I wish I could have done, say, 20 years ago.
I still want to do it.
When I was much younger, and it's a little bit more difficult for me to do this today. But he is actually hiking the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah, from Georgia to Maine.
That is a very, very difficult undertaking. A lot of people have done it. A lot of people did not make it.
Yeah.
But looking into the information that Gary has put on his Facebook page there, he has actually prepared for this. He's been to quite a few ventures already over the years, and he's well seasoned at this. And he actually has some information here. He started a website. It's called where'sthenextshelter.com. And Gary, from what I'm looking at here, he started his venture sometime yesterday here in Georgia. He got on the trail, and he is now underway. And what he's going to be doing is he's got this website set up where folks could actually follow him to see exactly where he is at. Now, he started at Springer Mountain, Georgia, somewhere around 10 o'clock a.m. yesterday. He had a good friend with him who's going to be on the trail with him for the first couple of days. And from there on, he's going to be on his own. I can just imagine, no, I cannot imagine, Daniel, what it would take to actually pack your gear and to, get yourself mentally prepared for a trip like that.
Well, I've seen people at Stone Mountain when me and Deidre have climbed up Stone Mountain, and they have all their gear on, and you'll see them hiking up and down Stone Mountain. So I think it's just baby steps like that, and when we've gone up to the mountains camping, we'll see people get all decked out and do some trails and stuff, maybe to prepare for that, because we've been in that area before.
I have actually hiked up Stone Mountain myself.
Oh yeah,
a long time ago. And it took me a long time to get up there because I had to stop several times and catch my breath.
Oh boy.
And I'm sure, like you say, Stone Mountain is baby steps in compared to some of the terrain that Gary is going to be, venturing onto in the Appalachians. But, this is going to be an interesting venture for him. And what I'm going to do is I went ahead and I took the opportunity to write Gary this morning to let him know that, we're thinking about him, and we're going to go ahead and post a link to where'sthenextshelter.com on our homepage, which is happycamperradio.com. And I've invited Gary to stay in touch with us, to give us a call here, and if he gets an opportunity, I believe he has a smartphone with him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yep. So I don't know what his availability is going to be, if he's going to be coming into areas where he will have cell phone reception, or he'll be able to text. I'm assuming he is, because he's going to be giving updates.
It's important to have electronics when you're on the trail. Very important to take your electronics with you when you go to the woods, right, Skip?
You really want to get me started, don't you? All right, but hey, in Gary's case, I can understand what he's trying to do here, and and hopefully he'll stay in touch with us, if not by phone, by text message or emails, and and we'll go ahead and definitely stay in touch with him, and hopefully in about 6 months from now, come to find out that he, arrived at his destination, which is the end of the trailhead up in Maine. And I've invited him to be on the program whenever he gets back. He's writing a book, too, I understand.
Yeah, he did a Kickstarter for his book. I think the Kickstarter might still be up if you just go to Kickstarter and go to Where's the Next Shelter, and if you want to, throw him a few bucks to help him write his book. I mean, he's already funded, so, just more support, the better, I think.
Hey, even if it's a couple bucks to, to have some food sent along the trail
really.
somewhere, because you're definitely going to need
expensive.
that. I'm sure it is.
I mean, you have to pay. I mean, me and Deidre, when we went up there, we were looking at it and we saw that you have to pay to hike it. It's not just, I put on my book bag or whatever and start walking. You have to pay as you walk so far.
Yeah, you have to sign up at your starting point, and then you have to meet up at certain points to basically let them know, if I remember correctly. You have to let them know, hey, I've made it to this point, and you've got to pay. And I think we read that it's like somewhere around $2,500 once it all is said and done.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound cheap.
No.
No, I mean,
Wow.
it's definitely an endeavor, and you got to be prepared for it. They were actually even telling us that some people, what they'll do, because up in Maine, at the end, a lot of those parks will actually close down around about October. So they were actually saying that some of the people will hike halfway and then will actually meet up with somebody, drive up to Maine, and then walk back down to the point where they got off so that they don't miss the closing seasons in up north. So that they can do the whole trail.
I would like to say I know a lot about Georgia, but where exactly is Springer Mountain?
It's right near, what was it? Amicalola Falls.
Yeah.
There's a trail that goes from Amicalola Falls. I think it's about a 5-mile trail that takes you to Springer Mountain, because we've seen it when we've gone up there to hike.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so, yeah.
There is
it
a
is.
part of the Appalachian Trail that I'm familiar with, and I was almost positive this wasn't it. But when I go on my annual camping trip, or I should call it semi-annual because we go up there a few times a year, but on the way to North Georgia, traveling through the beautiful town of Helen, and I want to have to do a special on Helen sometimes, because that is a nice little German town.
Yep.
If you ever visit Georgia, you definitely want to visit Helen. But passing through there and heading to North Georgia, you actually climb this huge mountain, and at the very top of the mountain, before you drop down to the other side, is the Appalachian Trail. So it crosses over this road.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when I go up there and I'm passing through, there is parking on both the right and the left-hand side of the road. I imagine folks just park there and they make a day trip out of it, and they walk the trail a little bit and turn around, because there's always cars parked there. But Gary will be passing through that point at some given time, and he's got a long journey ahead of him, and we wish him the absolute best of luck. Oh, Daniel, let's go ahead and get right into the topic of discussion today here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And what happened to my buttons here? What happened to all my buttons? Oh, yeah, there's one of them right there I was looking for.
This is Brian Ibbett from Coverville in the Morning Stream, and you're listening to Happy Camper Radio.
All right, Daniel, we're going to talk about a not very pleasant subject today. We're going to speak about insect bites.
Oh, boy.
Yes, those pesky little insects, those creatures who inhabit our campsite, regardless of where you go camping. Daniel, I do not care what type of camping trip you go on.
Okay.
I don't care if it is way off in the wilderness somewhere. I don't care if it is a local campground. I don't care if it is a campground that has paved roads. And each and every individual site is carefully manicured. You're not going to get rid of the insects. And if you do not take the steps that you need to take to protect yourself and your family, it's just like rolling out the red carpet for these little guys. Because they can wreak havoc on a camping trip. I've been there. I've done that. I have been at a point in my life where I was unprepared for a camping trip one time, and sure enough, here they come.
Well,
and you're not going to stop them, no matter what.
Well, let me tell you, the first time he and Deidre went camping down in Callaway Gardens, we were using her parents' old tent.
Oh.
And we were we had a camp spot. We had everything. So we were in a tent, Skip. A tent. Right?
A tent.
Okay. So
My heavens, what happened to you all?
we were sleeping, and we noticed.
We wake up in the morning.
We're sleeping on an ant bed.
Oh, yeah. They were making their way in. We were using my mom's tent. It was old, getting kind of ratty.
I think it had some holes in it.
It did. We were laying there looking up, going, there's a tiny hole. And about 1 million ants coming in. So guess who got up, drove to the nearest Walmart, bought a new tent, and moved sites.
Yeah, I think we chunked that other tent. We're like, this is done.
You got up and went out and bought a tent. I was waiting for you to say you went out and bought a can of bug spray, but you just...
No,
we just had to go ahead and...
The tent had holes all in it. My parents hadn't used it in...
Forever,
so it was ratty. And
that's the same tent we used for the, backyard camp out. That's the
not
same
the ratty
tent.
one, the one that we bought.
Okay, well, we'll be breaking that tent out again very soon.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Yes, we certainly will in the late June. I'm really looking forward to it.
So make sure when you set up camp that...
double check to make sure there aren't ants built into your campsite.
Go to a spot where you don't have a lot of insects. Work on, if they come. Exactly.
Shuffle the dirt around a little.
Exactly.
Well, in a lot of cases today, you have tent pads, and a lot of them have gravel, and I think most experienced campers are going to be prepared enough that they're going to be elevated off the ground, and they're not going to be sleeping on gravel. I know I certainly wouldn't. All right, but some people put down these sleeping bag pads or whatever you want to call them, the roll-out mattresses, but they do wonders. But outside of the tent, you're going to have problems with ants if you don't prepare for them, and mosquitoes and bees and wasps. They can be annoying, and they can bite at just about any time, and they can be found at any outdoor environment, including your campsite. They have been known to make vacation experiences extremely miserable, and contact with insects in and around your campsite, especially outside your campground, will be increased as you venture about. Now, preparing ahead of time is the key. Some people are allergic to insect bites. I know some people who are allergic to bee stings. And it's quite important that if you do have these allergies, if you become allergic to certain insect bites. I remember way back in the days, Daniel, when I was in high school, we had this kid in the marching band, and we always practiced after school for an upcoming football season.
You were in the marching band?
Yes, I was.
Oh my God, I didn't know this.
Yes, but I do got a very good memory.
What did you play?
The baritone horn.
Wow. Okay. I did not know this, people.
You learn something every day. Something new all the time here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. But, there was a kid who got stung by a bee, and he had to be rushed to the doctor. He had to go get a shot. And there are some people that are allergic to insect bites. And this is why, Daniel, and, you talk about electronics, there is a time and a place for them. It's important that you have your phone and the emergency numbers handy if you need them. If there's somebody in your camping party, whether it be a family member or a friend, who does have some sort of an allergy, who is allergic to insect bites or bee stings, you need to be able to reach out. You need to be able to provide first aid as required, as you should. Now, let's talk about ticks for a second. Oh, Daniel.
Let's talk about ticks.
These are terrible.
We had a run-in with ticks recently, too.
I've had numerous run-ins with ticks.
You got bitten by a tick?
I did.
Oh.
Where were they at?
In my armpit. If we had video, I could show you the red spot where he had latched on.
And you got to make sure that when you get them off, sometimes the head still stays in there. So
they're not easy to get out.
They're not. They are a bugger sometimes.
Yes, and they're often found in grass or vegetated areas. Your local guys or health officials, in that area may be able to point out some areas that, or have increased tick activity, and point out some areas where you need to stay away from when you go on some of these trips. But I can remember, Daniel, there was a couple I knew a long time ago that got into camping for the very first time, never done it, had decided, well, we're going to go out and buy all this gear, and they brought brand new stuff, and they went camping for the first time, and they broke the golden rule of not spraying down, of not preparing themselves for possible insect infestation.
Oh boy!
While they were out, and the lady of the household ended up getting bit by a tick.
Ooh.
And they came back and sold all their gear.
Oh my gosh!
They decided they weren't going to do this anymore.
Wow!
And all that goes to show you right there just how one insect confrontation can really destroy a whole trip. Mm-hmm. And there you have it, folks.
Well, that's why we camp in October. It's not as bad.
It's not, but right now, and that's why I'm bringing this up on today's show,
exactly.
Daniel, because
this is the season right now.
This is the season. This is
They're
the
coming
beginning,
in.
and we still have a few months left, of some good weather. And the insects and the bugs are going to be out there, so you've got to prepare for them. If you're going to get excited about a trip, if you're going to plan for a trip, if you want to, wrap yourself around it like I do each and every time, definitely prepare for these little guys out here who, you're not going to get rid of them, but you can keep them away by preparing ahead of time.
And always make sure, even if the area is not supposedly infested, always make sure when you come back from anywhere outdoors, check everywhere for ticks. Mm-hmm. I grew up on a lake in the woods, and I have had several run-ins. I have found a tick between my toes, and the only way that I found it was because my toe was itching, and I just happened to look down to see if I had a bug bite. I have found one on the line where my underwear is, where my leg crease meets my hip. I have had them on the back of my neck and in my armpit. And that last one was just being out in our yard recently. So definitely always make sure if you are outdoors in any kind of grassy, wooded area, double check, because there's nothing worse than a tick.
Deidre, these bugs really love you.
Apparently.
She's very
Oh,
sweet.
my heavens.
I'm surprised she hadn't been bit by a bee.
Well,
that's what I'm afraid of.
Like
She's
she
so
said,
sweet.
it's important that you inspect your body and your clothing for ticks, during and after any outdoor activity, and especially at the end of the day. Now, prompt removal of a tick can prevent some infections, and showering within 2 hours of being in a tick-infested area reduces the risk of some tick-borne diseases. So here's what can you do? That you can't get rid of the bugs, you can't get rid of the ticks, you can't drive them away because they're going to be there. But there are some things that you can do to help make your experience at camp and your outdoor adventure so much more enjoyable. Okay, first of all, number one, while you're at camp, check your tent for tears and rips. Like you said, you had a tent that, it was ready to bite the dust, okay? And it bit the dust. But, you've got to check those tents for tears because that's where these little guys will find their way in. And that includes the screens in your tent. Always keep your tent zipped up when not in use. My tent, and I'm sure your tent, Daniel, has a screen. You can either put the door up or you can leave the screen open. I like to leave the screen open because it allows the air to breathe in and about your tent. Okay, but I definitely keep it zipped up. Some people use, and I don't know if you've seen these, Daniel, but you're going to have like a blow-up mattress or a cot that's elevated off the ground. Some people use bed nets. Have you ever seen those?
Yeah, we were at the mall earlier today, and actually we saw a net. It was like an outside net. But yeah, it was like a whole body net. So like you could put a cot and then the net would fit around it.
That would make you sleep better at night. All right. Also, another thing you can do too, when you break out the food dishes, that's when they come. You ever heard ants at the picnic? Oh yeah. Break out the food, here come the bugs. They make these little screens that cover your food dishes to keep the flies off them, to keep the insects away. Use them. Also use screens to cover any containers that you may have. I like to bring a lot of Tupperware and keep the lids on tight especially if you're going to have some of these products that that are perishable that you've got to put back into your cooler. Keep them covered. That keeps the bugs away.
Well, what we were looking at today at the mall was one of those screened-in porches, because you don't even have to worry about your food if you have a screened-in porch, and we're really thinking about maybe investing in one of those.
It cost a few bucks, Daniel, but they are well worth it. And you keep the bugs out while you enjoy your dining pleasures in.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Clothing also helps. Nobody likes to wear long sleeve shirts or long pants this time of year, but that also helps. Make sure you have your socks and shoes on. Use them instead of sandals. Keep your clothing tucked in. A lot of folks this time of the year, especially here in the South where the temperatures are a bit high, folks wear hats.
Mm-hmm.
I wear a hat. I wear a ball cap. It helps prevent sunburn and helps keep the insects out of your hair.
Well, with the clothing, I know I have a pair of pants. They're one of those, they're like hiking pants where you can unzip them if you want to make them short. But they're very, very lightweight. They've got special clothing that's maybe long sleeves, but it's very lightweight, breathable material. And, it doesn't feel as hot as if you wear cotton, like a flannel shirt or something.
Sure.
But they make clothing for that and to prevent, sun penetration for sunburns and stuff.
Yes. And the bottom line here is, Daniel, regardless of what you do, you're still going to have to bring some bug spray.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So definitely get some insect repellent for both your skin and your clothing. Read the labels, folks. And always use caution anytime that you use, any type of bug spray. Avoid inhalation of the fumes. For sensitive skin, check with your doctor. Not everybody can, put these chemicals on their skin. So if you're planning on going away on a trip and you're one of those family members that you just cannot have bug spray on, you need to get with your doctor to find out what you can use to protect yourself. Use it on your clothing for added protection. Check the label to see if it can be safely applied to clothes. Also, the Centers for Disease Control recommends DEET with a 20% exposure to skin to reduce biting by ticks that may spread disease. So, there's a lot of information out there, and we're going to go ahead and include a link on our website. In fact, we probably already have a couple things there for you to take a look at www.happycamperradio.com to find out more on what you can do to make your camping experience a whole lot more pleasurable and keeping those ugly little insects away. It's time now for our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. All right, Daniel, we are going to go to the state of Indiana this week.
The Hoosier State.
The Hoosier State, yes.
My grandfather was from Indiana.
In fact, this campground is part of the Hoosier National Forest. It is Tipsaw Lake in Indiana. A beautiful location, a beautiful place to go camping. Got some great pictures on their webpage, and all you've got to do to find out information about this campsite is go to www.happycamperradio.com. In the right-hand corner, click on the featured campground button, and there it will be Tipsaw Lake. This is a beautiful location. It sits on 131 acres of Tipsaw Lake in a hardwood and pine forest. Now, there's also something you need to be aware of, too. This is one of those locations where you cannot bring firewood from the outside. All your firewood is going to be, you're going to have to purchase it locally. I believe there's some information, yes, right there at the top of the page. It tells you, in fact, speaking about insects, the emerald ash borer. Never heard of that before, but that is something that they do not want spread into that region. Read all the information on their website if you're planning on going camping out in Indiana, and especially at this particular campsite this time of year. Their season runs all the way through Wednesday, October the 14th. Is that right? Yeah, no, the 15th. Got to give you an extra day there. Activities and amenities, beach access, boat ramps, day use area, general store, group camping, swimming, RV sites, picnic shelters. They got plenty of activity. Take a look at this one section. Know before you go. There's a lot of things there that you need to be aware of. But if you're going to go camping this time of year in the state of Indiana, if you're passing on through it, even just want to spend a couple days, consider Tipsaw Lake, part of the Hoosier National Forest. It is our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And as always, if you have a campground that you would like Daniel and I to feature on the program, all you've got to do is reach out to us, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com, and Superstar here,
Daniel at happycamperradio.com.
Tell us all about these wonderful campsites that you're visiting, especially the ones that you know you would probably go back if you had the opportunity to do it again. Daniel, it's been an interesting program. I've enjoyed having you. Deidre, thank you for coming on over to camp this week.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Hey, folks, you can log on to our homepage, www.happycamperradio.com, anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you want to check out and see where Gary is at on his Appalachian Trail, we're going to have a link there for you to do just that. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. Daniel's a happy camper. So is Deidre. And the dog's a happy camper, too, even though he's very quiet here in the studio. We'll catch you next week, folks.